Hey everyone, I'm Allison.
I'm Bryce, and we're Better Half Reviews.
And today we're talking about the Quest Kids collection. This is designed by Dustin McMillian, the art is by Apolline Etienne, and it's published by Treasure Falls Games.
Quest Kids is a kids dungeon crawling game where you're trying to clear out the dungeon and win the game. And Quest Kids Matching is a fun matching game.
With a twist. And Tolk the Wise is a campaign version for Quest Kids. So let's check it out. Alright, so here's the board of Quest Kids. You've got your cards laid out, health, quests, and kind kid cards. Everybody needs to choose which player they want to be. And in the rulebook, it tells you what different cards each character starts with. So we'll pick Noah. The starting components are 3 health tiles, 1 quest tile, and Noah gets a power card. So everybody has different quests, so this one is just 2 scared away bad guys. So when you do that, you get 2 stars. And then you put your card underneath the matching color. So when you play the game, you can choose to use these minis, or you can choose to use the standees. Shuffle up your treasure tokens into the treasure bag, and now I need to set up the board. There's 3 different types of cards. There's the gray cards, green cards, and red cards. Gray and green cards will occupy this half of the board. These rooms will be the red cards. Red cards are the harder difficulty monsters to scare away or better treasures to win. The gray cards are easy, the green cards are medium. So we're going to shuffle these up and set up 2/3 of the board with these. Green cards in. Once your board is set up, whoever had the most recent adventure will go first. So in this game, it's really simple. What you choose to do is move and flip over a card. You can choose to go into rooms either through their little gates, there is a little highlight around here, or through the door. So let's go this way. So flip it over, and it says +2 power. So we gain 2 power cards. And it says plus a treasure. So we get to draw a treasure. So this treasure gives me 1 star, and some of the treasures actually have certain characters on it. So it says if Noah draws this, they get 2 extra stars, which we are Noah, so we get 3 stars for this 1 treasure. You take the card off the board, and I get to stay there. So let's say I decide to go this way, and I flip the card over, and oh, we've got a bad guy here. We've got empty belly. So in order to pacify him or scare him away, we need a magic card and 2 wisdom cards. And if we pacify him, we'll get 3 stars. But unfortunately, right now I've only got purple. Let's say my other friends were out on the board already, and they've got some cards to share. So maybe she would share a yellow and give it to me, and purple would share 2 wisdom cards in order for me to scare away the bad guy. So I could turn these in to scare away the bad guy. I'll keep this on my quest board, and I'll get the 3 stars at the end of the game. Whoever shared, they each get a kindness card for every card they gave. So she gave us 1 card, she would get a kind kid card. So this bonus for her would be +1 health. She gave us 2, so she would get 2 cards, and she's going to get a lot of bonuses, extra cards, and treasures. So it pays to share. So if I didn't have the cards to scare away the bad guy and people didn't have the cards to share, I would have to take a hit on my health and discard 1 of these cards, and the bad guy would stay. So someone else could come and fight him and scare him away, or maybe at a later time I could come back and scare him away. But you have to have the exact number and right type of cards in order to scare him away. So when you're moving, you can go as far as you want to, but as soon as you land on a card, that's the one you gotta flip over. So if I go over here and flip it over, this one lets me get a Tolk Gem of Knowledge. I would need to have 1 of each of these cards, and I'd gain 3 stars, and I would gain the gem. So again, you got to make sure to watch out for the doorways. So I can't move straight up here. I would have to go through the door and out. So now this side of the board is where the harder bad guys are at. So if we're moving along, I'm going to go through this doorway, flip it over. Here we got Double Tooth. They need 4 cards, 2 purple and 2 yellow, and they're worth more stars. So remember those quest cards. Once you complete your quest, you get to draw a new one. So this says 2 scared away bad guys. So let's say I've scared away these guys. Now I get to draw another quest. So my next goal will be to have 2 wisdom and 2 magic cards in my hand. If the quest pile runs out, there's no more quests available for the rest of the game. So the game end is triggered when the last card is flipped over and explored. After that, everybody gets 2 more turns to try to take care of any monsters or bad guys to scare away, and then you're going to count up all your points. So you got this little score sheet, keep track of your health and treasures, kind kid cards, gems, and quests, and afterwards you can color it. And that's how you play Quest Kids. So if you add Tolk the Wise to Quest Kids, it creates a campaign game. So you have different envelopes that you'll be revealing throughout the game. I won't open them because I don't want to have any spoilers, but there's more hero cards, ally cards, and something to be reviewed. You've got these large cards with numbers on them, and you'll go through these throughout the campaign, which there's going to be puzzles and a story. And there's going to be new tiles to put out for each session of the game. And a few extra components like character cards and a couple hero cards. So this is one of the setups for the Quest Kid matching adventure. There are different setups available depending on your game mode. Shortest, easiest, all the way up to longest, hardest. In the short mode, we're going to take out different factions, so we're only playing with 3 factions of bad guys. And you're supposed to take out the 6 gold coin items and the 6 lamp items. So this game plays in 2 stages. First, you have the heroes. You need to match up heroes, which are the brown tokens. So after you've collected at least 1 hero, you can choose to go on an adventure to find and scare away bad guys, which are the blue and green tiles. Or you can continue and find more heroes. So this is a matching game. You do the typical pick 2 tiles, so we'll pick 2 of the tree tiles. If they match, then you get to collect it. If they don't, you flip them back over. And then the next player gets to go. So some players may have multiple heroes available. Now you move into the second stage where you're going to be scaring off the bad guys. So what you'll do is you pick at least 1 blue and at least 1 green. You can pick up to 3 tiles. Again, if you don't get a match, you're just going to flip them back over. So when you do find a match with the bad guys, that means you scare them away, and it'll show you how many treasures you will receive. So this one will receive 2 treasures for scaring this away. So these treasures give us 2 stars each, and there's character-specific bonuses. If we had these characters, we would have these stars at the end of the game. Play continues until all the tiles are gone, and then you're going to count up all of your treasure stars and bonuses or any negatives. And that's how you play Quest Kids Matching Adventure. Alright, so let's move into our pros and cons of the Quest Kids Matching Adventure. What'd you think?
I thought this was a pretty interesting twist, I guess, on the normal just grid of tiles and you pick 2.
That's true. Yeah, so it has that inner ring of the heroes that you start with, and then battling out the monsters, and there's 2 different colors to the monsters. 1 tile of each has that monster to match. So I like that they have that to okay, colors, pick 1 of this and 1 of this, and hopefully you can find it. I love the little treasure chest. It has a little keyhole with the magnetic box, and you keep all your treasures inside. Our son loves it. And so this game is fun. The recommended ages is 3 and up. Our son had a little bit of a harder time grasping the whole game. He had fun and he understood the matching part, but his attention span wasn't quite there to play, like, find the heroes and then find the monsters. We kind of had to help him along, but that's just our son, too. But
Well, we also needed to help him, help remind him, okay, you pick one of this color, one of the other color. You don't pick two of the same color.
Well, you can pick 3 tiles. But,
well,
you have to at least
yeah,
pick
but I mean,
one of each.
he wanted to pick 3 of the same color.
Yeah.
And it's okay, you got to pick one of the other color.
Yeah. But even if your child doesn't totally get the whole matching thing, they'll get it to somewhat, right? The treasures were so fun. So, our son loved handing it out. So it's oh, you get 2 treasures? He would get out 2 treasures, and he loved the lamps. Everybody had to have the lamps first. But anyway, so this was a great game for, practicing with matching, identifying, and counting. So I know, our son had fun with that, and I would try to test him, okay, how many treasures do you have? How many treasures does Daddy have? It was a good little learning experience. Even if he didn't get the whole game, it was still good.
Yeah, it was fun to, be able to crush my son at a game.
Yeah, he crushed him at matching. Good job, Bryce. And something I like with the tiles, I don't know if it'll show up on the camera, but I love that some of the hero tiles have the shiny sheen to it, and our son always loved getting these ones. He'd be like, oh, look at this. So moving into the negatives, one that I had was, this is the organization of the box, and if it weren't for this, these would be all over. I mean, they're kind of still already all over the place. I understand it's a kid's game, and they're not really focused on organizing things anyway, but I kind of wish there was a little bit of an organization. I guess I could use baggies to keep, the brown ones, the blue ones, and the green ones separate. I probably should have just used baggies. But they didn't come with the game, so the organization isn't, the greatest. So, yeah, not much of a negative for the matching adventure, but just for us, it's okay, the attention span isn't quite there for the whole game, but we can still have fun, and he can still learn while playing. Alright, so that's how you play the game. Let's talk about how we feel about it. What are some of the pros of Quest Kids?
I think this is a very well done game. Everything from the miniatures to the cards to the board. It's all really well produced, in my opinion.
And it's very kid friendly, so there isn't writing on the cards too much. It's very, very clear iconography, big pictures. Good for those little hands. They will be able to grab things easily.
Mm-hmm. I think this is a great kids game, and it's definitely geared for that audience.
Correct. So it says 5 and up. This game has simple rules, very easy layout of how you move around, very easy for kids to grasp. That being said, this is a game for kids, so I wouldn't play this without a kid.
Yeah, I felt kind of silly playing this multiple times with Allison and having our son be in bed already and just nowhere in sight.
I mean, I have considered it. So it says 5 and up. Our child is 3 at the time that we had this, and I could see him having fun and playing it. He wouldn't grasp the whole game, but he would understand moving and doing it. We just didn't get around to it before our review. But yeah, so this game is not one that is geared towards adults. It's for kids, and that's not a bad thing. I think it's great that there's a legit dungeon crawler game for kids. And with that, it is competitive, but I love that they bring in sharing and being helpful. So if he's going on a quest and you needed one of the purple cards and you don't have a purple card, I have a purple card. I can give him a purple card and he can complete his quest, and I get a kind kid card in return, which gives me a bonus. So I like that little aspect of yes, it's competitive, yes, you want to win, but hey, I can share with you and I can help you. And you're all collectively working on the dungeon together. I really like that.
Yeah, I like that as well. It's interesting to have that mechanic in there. I don't know how well it would work with a bunch of 5-year-olds teaching them try to share. You'll probably have to remind them that that's possible, but I don't know. I like that it's in there.
Yes, I do too. One of my other big pros for this game, you can tell that they really thought about it for kids, is the score sheet. There's a good way to keep track of your scores, adding and everything, and it's a color sheet after you're done. I love that. So I'm like, this is just perfect for kids with the color sheet or the big gems that you can collect. They're like big and shiny. Our son is obsessed with those. But I love all the pieces and how it all works together. So moving on to the cons, we did mention, like, this isn't necessarily a con, but it's not made for adults. It's for families with kids or just kids in general.
This isn't a game I'd pull out on like a Friday night date night with a whole bunch of adults.
Game night! No. And since it is geared towards kids and it has like a simple like layout and play, it can start to feel a little bit samey. That's me, an adult, saying that. I don't think a kid would feel that way. They would just love exploring the dungeon. So there's that. So it may feel samey to your parents, but not to the kids.
But even if it does feel samey, there is the Tolk the Wise expansion.
Yes, that was my segue. So with Tolk the Wise, this is a perfect addition to this game. So like as the parent, you're playing it and your kids are like, this is so much fun. You're like, that's great. Tolk the Wise can bring a breath of fresh air to the adults and also to the kids as they're like learning and they've got the game down. This is a great entry into, you know, like I guess,
campaigns
and like higher skilled games, because when you're playing the game, like we showed, you have these different envelopes and things, and there's puzzles you can work together, and it's so fun to like reveal things. This definitely helped make it a bit more interesting for the adults.
Yeah, well, and it's interesting for the kids because it does have a bit of a storyline to it.
Yes. So I like that it helps like bring the children into the game and into a story while playing the game. So they're learning while having fun and sharing, but also learning the like competitive nature. But it's just a good mix of everything.
You know, you got to convert them young, so this is a great game to do that with.
Get them started with the base game, then move them into the campaign. Then you got Gloomhaven. You're ready.
Oh, jeez.
I'm just kidding. Not quite like that. So since we moved over into Tolk, did you have any big positives or any negatives to it?
I think I said my biggest positive already, that it provides a bit of differentiation from the base game. It provides that fun little storyline. Honestly, I can't even think of a negative. Come back to me on that.
I've got a slight negative to it. So with legacy games and campaign games, you usually have stuff that gets revealed as you go, and you have cards that you have to figure out, like, okay, now we're going to flip over this card. These are the cards. They're all stacked up nicely, but the way that they were stacked, in order to figure out what cards you need to get and when to stop, I have to look at the bottom of the cards, which would reveal things. If I'm not careful, like I tried to like, okay, where am I needed to stop? I wish they had put these cards where it's like, oh, you need it for quest 3. I wish this had been on top. Like from the top, not from the bottom. Because like the starting quest is on the bottom, or I think that's it. I just remember something feeling a little bit backwards. It wasn't like terrible, but it was like, that was like my only grievance with the game.
I didn't notice because you did most of the setup.
Yeah, I did. But anyway, that's a small thing. It's a nitpicky thing. That's just me. But yeah, so that's mainly my negative for Tolk the Wise. So these are our thoughts about the Quest Kid games. These copies were sent to us to review, but despite that, our opinions are always our own. Positive and negatives, we'll always let you know. Overall, I think these games are really fun for children. A great way to like learn to work together, counting, identifying colors, and still learning like the competitive aspect and pushing it with the Tolk the Wise of like, here's a story and puzzles and get into the gaming world.
Yeah, I agree. This isn't something, you know, like I said, pull out with a big gaming group and, you know, have a great time with.
You can still have fun. But yeah.
This would be something that when our son's a little older, he would definitely be playing, and we'll definitely be introducing to him in hopes that he becomes a gamer.
Mm-hmm. And maybe as a comparison, like not necessarily exactly game to game, but like Stuffed Fables is a popular thing where it's like, oh, should my child play this? I feel like this is the step before Stuffed Fables. It's a little less complicated, and so like I don't know. Our son is not ready for Stuffed Fables either, but
it's
this
a
would
lot
be a
less
good starter.
reading.
Yes.
Stuffed Fables has a lot of reading. It's a very story driven. This is
icons
and cards that you move on to, flip over. resolve, move, flip over, resolve. It's a lot easier than Stuffed Fables.
Yeah, so I think this would be a good step. And then if they can get this with Tolk the Wise, then you can move up to stuff like Stuffed Fables or whatever you can think of. Oh, and something exciting, I did see that Dustin, the creator, was actually working on another expansion for Quest Kids.
Oh, cool. I did not know that.
It's in the kind of like prototypey stages, so I have no idea when it may come out or anything. But I know he's working on something, so I'm definitely interested to see what he adds to the game.
Yeah.
Alright, so those are our thoughts about the Quest Kids games. If they sound like good games for your children, definitely check them out. They should be available on retail, and we'll leave a link in the description where you'll be able to find them.
And also, while you're down there looking at the description, hit that like button and subscribe, because that'd be awesome.
Yeah, and we also post on Instagram, lots of pictures and other things there, so check us out on there as well. Alright, I'm Allison.
I'm Bryce, and we're Better Half Reviews.
Happy gaming!
Have fun!
But I'm saying it now. I'm saying it now. Do you think it's good for your children, your kids? And a few extra components.